It's that time for the kids to head back to school. What is up, you guys? My name is Kira if you are new, and in today's video, I am back to share with you some super easy back to school breakfast ideas. Breakfast is always the hardest meal for me when it comes to school. I love sharing lunches because I love when the kids get there and they open up their lunchbox and they see all the surprises that mom packs. But breakfast is my nemesis because trying to get everybody out of the house in the morning is always crazy. And this year I have to get 3 kids out of the house and to school on time. So I really want to make my breakfast time super easy. So I put together a ton of really easy breakfast ideas that I think your kids will love. We even start off with one that I think is more for the adults to indulge in breakfast, but we have to eat breakfast while we're trying to get our kids out and on the go, right? So let me share with you all these different ideas that I have, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I decided to start off with that breakfast that the adults can eat because we need to get ourselves up and motivated and ready to go so that we can motivate everybody else. And this is a bagel casserole. Like, you can't beat what this is. I put some really yummy, already crispy hash browns, the crispy crowns. Those are the tater tots that are flat. I use that for another breakfast casserole. I'll link that video if you guys want to check it out. But I had some left over and I decided it would be the perfect crust for this egg everything bagel casserole, which just speaks to everything that I love. There's Gruyere cheese and crumbled up bacon and cream cheese and green onions and eggs and heavy cream, and then egg everything bagels. Now those are straight from New York. It is very hard to find an egg everything bagel, so if you live in an area where they don't sell them, you will have to just purchase regular everything bagels, and we need 5 of them. But my brother tried to bring these to me, and my dad put them in the food saver and they flattened like pieces of bagel chip. So I figured, what better way to use them, since I couldn't really use them as a bagel, and cut them up for this casserole. And wow, you guys, just wow. I made this and brought this to the lake. I saw this as being something that was a huge hit and everybody loved it. So one thing that I will tell you is I pre-baked those crispy crowns for 425 till they were good and toasty, and then I used a potato masher and kind of pushed them down a little bit, and then I did layer some cheese on top just so that when it melts it holds all of those potatoes together. And then now we're going to go ahead and cut up half of our bagels. So I said you need 5 bagels, so we're using 2.5 right now, and I cut them all into pieces and I laid them on top of those cheese and potatoes. And now we're going to put a half a pound of bacon that's been cooked and crisped and cut into little pieces and crumbled. We're going to put a layer of that. Now we're going to put a layer of our Gruyere cheese. You need a whole pound, but believe it or not, this was only 6 ounces, the piece that I got. So that's only 3 ounces of cheese. So it's really not a whole lot of cheese in here. So you're going to put your layer of cheese and then you're going to repeat the process. So we cut our 2.5 bagels and put them on top. We put our bacon crumbles and now the last of our Gruyere cheese. And then we're going to add in some cream cheese and our eggs. So I put 8 eggs in a bowl with 1 cup of heavy cream, and I went ahead and whisked that all together. It sounds like a lot of heavy cream, but inside of those eggs, especially since it's a whole casserole, it really helps to fluff it all up. And so I left the eggs sitting there in the measuring cup, and now we're taking pieces of cream cheese and we're shoving it down in there. You kind of were supposed to layer it. That was something that I kind of forgot. When you were layering, you could put chunks of cream cheese down. I took a 8-ounce block and cubed it into little pieces. You could have put the cream cheese down and then layered again, but I forgot. Either way, it didn't really matter because I took pieces of cream cheese, I pushed it down throughout the whole thing so the whole block was in there. I covered it with eggs and baked it, and bam. look at that. Covered the top with green onions, and it was so good, you guys. I brought this whole casserole tray with us to the lake. We ate what we could, and then I brought home what we didn't finish, and I cut it in pieces and I froze it. And I can't wait to reheat it and eat it because it was absolutely delicious and super easy. I mean, you guys can get bagels from anywhere. So it was bagels, eggs, bacon, and cheese, and you put it in a casserole, and you guys, it was dynamite. Now for our next recipe, we're going super simple and easy, you guys. And one of the things that Jake loves are breakfast burritos. And these are one of the easiest things to whip up because all we really need is some milk and some eggs, and then your meat of choice. So I'm doing sausage burritos just because I've kind of divided. Some things have bacon, some things have sausage, some things have ham, and I think the crumbledness of the sausage go perfect in this burrito. So I have 1 cup of milk and then 8 eggs here, and then I have 1 pound of Jimmy Dean sausage. I just get like a 2-pound log from the bulk store, and I cut half of it off and put it in a bag so that we can go ahead and crumble that for this recipe. And then to keep it more carb balanced, I get the Mission Carb Balance tortillas. I get the 2-pack from Sam. So we're only going to use 1. There's 8 in a package. So we're going to make 8 today. And then I have 2 different kinds of cheeses left. I made quesadillas a few nights before this, and I had found this quesadilla cheese at Walmart, and we had some left. And then I had some regular Mexi Melt shredded cheese left in a bag. So we're going to end up needing both of them because you'll roughly need about a pound of cheese for this recipe. So my suggestion while you're cooking is to go ahead and set up your burrito station because you're going to want these to make sure they don't get freezer burn while you have them in the freezer. So I layered here 1 tortilla, then 1 sheet of wax paper, and then 1 piece of tin foil. And this way we're going to wrap our burrito in that wax paper, then wrap it in the foil, and then it'll stay in the freezer. I went ahead and ground our sausage already and put it in a bowl for you, and then I scrambled our eggs. I didn't share that part with you guys because that part is generally simple, but if you do need guidance and you need me to make a video for that, just let me know and I will pull that together. But I scrambled our eggs, I browned our meat, and I have our cheese. That's it. And for me, I like to put the cheese at the bottom. I feel like it helps melt. So I put the cheese first, then I put a scoop of that ground sausage down on top of the cheese. It's still being hot, helps melt the cheese. And then I go ahead and put a spatula of eggs. And then you're just going to roll this like anything else. You're going to fold in your sides, and then you're going to fold over your flat. And you're just going to keep tight rolling until you get all the way to the end. And once you're done, you're going to repeat the same way that you rolled that wrap. And you're going to do that with the wax paper. And then you're going to do that again with your tin foil. And you're literally just going to keep making layers of your prepared breakfast burrito, then your wax paper, and then your tin foil. And once you're all done rolling these up, then we'll just go ahead and stick them in a gallon size freezer bag. My suggestion for cooking these are to put them in the microwave in that wax paper for 30 seconds. It kind of defrosts them. Then I take that burrito and I put it in a damp paper towel and I put it back in the microwave for 1 minute. And I do that with all of my breakfast sandwiches, and it really just brings them back to life. They're cheesy, they're gooey, they're not hard from being microwaved, or sometimes things get rubbery. Like these work out perfect just this way. And now we have 8 sausage burritos in the fridge ready to go. Now for our next recipe, it is time to make some homemade fresh bread so my kids can have fresh toast in the morning. So let me start off by thanking Naretva for sponsoring today's video. They wanted to send me this bread maker, and at first I was a little leery because I don't always think to make my own bread, but I do love to do this kind of stuff, and I finally caved, and I'm so glad that I did because this, you guys, was so easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you see the clock, it says 11:30, and that's not morning, that's night. And I received this the night before I was getting ready to get on to the plane to fly. And I was like, you know what? I am still going to make bread before I go and have this ready to go. And it is so easy. So you have your little turner here. That's the piece that needs the dough. And they give you an extra one, which I think is great. And this pan that goes on the inside, this copper loaf pan. It locks in and out of place with ease. That's it. Like these little things that you see here, this measuring cup, the measuring spoon, that's a little hook to get your handle out when it's hot. And then they also give you an instruction booklet and you get a cute little oven mitt. Like these are all the things that come with it, but that's all that you need to make bread. I could not believe how easy that this was when I read the manual and saw that this was like a 1, 2, 3 step process. I said, I totally can do this right now before I leave and get this bread cooked before I go. Now, I didn't have bread flour, which it does recommend you using bread flour for 90% of their recipes, but there was a quick bread recipe in there where you could just use actual flour. I was so glad I had yeast on hand. So all you need is flour and sugar and salt, water, butter, egg, and yeast for this recipe. And the guidebook is literally so simple that it tells you how it wants you to layer everything. And it says to layer in this specific order and do not mix. So I put our water in, I put our 1 egg in, a tablespoon of butter, and now I'm going to put in our salt and then our sugar. And then we're going to layer our dry ingredients on top of that. So now you're going to go ahead and put in your flour. And so once you put in this 2.5 cups of flour, it wants you to make a little hole in the top, like a little divot, and that's where you're going to put your yeast. And it says make sure that the yeast doesn't touch the water because it's not ready to do that yet. And you can see I put the bucket in there, 1 little half turn. I was like double checking. I'm like, wow, that's it. It was that easy, literally that easy. And look at all of that, you guys. There's 20 different things that this thing does, all these different kinds of breads. And all you do is turn the knob to the setting that's written there, and it'll tell you what time it's going to be, and that's it. Like it does it all on its own. So quick bread was number 2, which was 2 hours and 10 minutes, and that's it. Like you see it, it's already starting and turning and kneading, and it is 11:31, you guys. And I didn't even care. I went and I set it, and when it was done, I couldn't believe it. Like I was still packing and getting ready and everything, and so I was up anyways, and it just worked out perfect. The whole house smelled like bread. And I didn't have to do anything but pour things in there. When I took it out and it came out, I just grew so thrilled that I said I would do this because this is only the small loaf. You could have made a larger loaf, like it gave the dimensions for you to either add more ingredients for a larger loaf or a smaller. This was my first time, so I stuck with the smaller loaf. But look how hearty those pieces are. Like that's going to be perfect for toast in the morning, or if the kids want a fresh egg, they can have 1 piece of toast with a fresh egg before school, and I think it'll just be perfect. And of course I had to go ahead and try it. It was warm bread. I mean, who doesn't want warm bread? So I went and grabbed my butter and I buttered a little piece of this bread, and you guys, it is so good, and it is thick, like really dense bread, like super quality bread. It's not light white bread. This was really good bread, and I am so excited to play with all the different recipes that this book has to offer. So make sure you check the description box, you guys, and click that link to grab this right on Amazon. It is super inexpensive. It came in 2 days, and it is, you will not be sorry. I promise you that. So open up that description box and click the link and grab yourself a Nuretva bread oven. I promise you, you will not be sorry. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and cook up some bacon. I just included this in the clip because I know a lot of people ask how I cook my bacon, and I do it right on a sheet pan. I like to save the bacon grease in my little bacon grease holder to use for later, and we need this for a bunch of recipes. So we need the pieces good and flat because we're going to make these little pancake sticks with bacon in the middle, and then the rest of that bacon we're going to crumble up on top of our breakfast pizza. And believe it or not, my bacon holder was already filled with grease, so I had to use another jar. So I put the rest of my bacon grease in that little jar, and then now we're at the breakfast pizza station. It is super easy to make pizza, you guys. You know that. You need store-bought pizza crust and then whatever you put on top. But breakfast pizza is the best of all. So I have some bacon grease here with pizza crust. We're going to use ketchup as our sauce. I have ham, sausage, bacon, and cheese. And I forgot to show you guys the eggs, but of course you're going to need some eggs and a little bit of milk because we're going to scramble up some eggs and we're going to top our pizza with that too. You guys, breakfast pizza freezes amazing and it cooks so easy. And the best part is it doesn't just cook easy, but it prepares easy. Assembling pizza is literally no sweat off your back. So I greased the bottom of a cookie sheet with a little bit of bacon grease just so that the pizza dough doesn't stick. And then I took our pizza crust and I completely formed it to the bottom of this sheet pan. And then I took the bacon grease and I also went back and went all the way around where your crust is going to be, which is pretty good because then it gives you a visualization of where to put the rest of the ingredients and not go over so that you still have a crust for your pizza. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw some ketchup on the bottom. Now, if you don't do ketchup on your eggs, this might seem a little repulsing to you. You can skip this step and just do the eggs first and then go ahead and do all of your cheese and meat toppings. I happen to really, really like the ketchup. I like ketchup on my eggs, but I also feel like it helps everything stick. So I put a coating of the ketchup on, then I layered a piece of ham, then I did cheese so that everything you put on top of the cheese will stick to it. And then I added our crumbled sausage, our crumbled bacon, and then some fresh hot scrambled eggs. And then that is it. And I pushed it down a little bit with my spatula so that all of the ingredients are touching the cheese. You could sprinkle a little bit of extra cheese on top. I ran out of cheese because of all these breakfast things that I did. I just completely misstepped on how much to have on hand. But had I had more, I would have thrown some on top. But then 425 degrees, you guys, for 12 to 15 minutes. Just keep an eye on it so that it's cooked to your color liking as far as the crust is concerned, because all of the components on the top are cooked. And then once it cools, you just cut it and then stick it in a sandwich bag and label it. I wrote breakfast pizza on there for you guys to see, and then off into the freezer it goes. All right, now we're on to probably one of the recipes I was dying to share the most because this idea is ingenious and I found it on Pinterest and it kind of resembles the sausage on a stick with pancake wrapped around it, except we're going to use the griddle. We're going to make a plain old regular Bisquick already made box easy pancake mix, and we're going to take that pancake mix and we're going to put it inside of our measuring cup so that we have pourability, and we're going to pour it on top of the griddle in a straight line, and then we're going to put a piece of bacon on top of it. And then once we do that, we're going to take our pancake batter and we're going to pour more pancake batter on top. I tried to just pour and it didn't look as nice, so I ended up getting a spoon for the next one, and after I put the pancake piece in it and I put more pancake batter on top, I kind of spooned it over so I could flatten it perfectly and make sure the entire piece of bacon was covered. And then that's it, you guys. Just cook your pancakes like you would. And then once you're done, they're done. And this was just such a smart idea for me because I love the idea of it being a long shape. So it's tangible and easy for my kids to hold, but it's a nice hearty pancake. I feel like because you pour twice, it's almost two pancakes in one. So I feel like it's super thick and it has the piece of bacon on the inside. So it's almost like having two small pancakes with a piece of bacon before school. And I just love the idea of them being able to take it on the go when they're walking to the bus or into the car, and it's still being a hearty breakfast. And I got a lot out of one batch of pancakes and 12 pieces of bacon. I got 12 nice sticks, and I think that will be great for my kids. All right. My little kids love themselves some Pop-Tarts. Who am I kidding? All three of my kids love Pop-Tarts, but Jake is super particular. He does not eat the fruity kind. They have to be the chocolate kind. But my little kids will eat something like strawberry rhubarb preserves. These are the little jellies that I got from Costco, I believe, during the holiday time. And I still had some of the strawberry rhubarb in my fridge that I wanted to use up. And then I had this toasted cinnamon pear, which Mason's all about pears, in my pantry closet. And what do you use these jams for? You can use them for parties and put them over cream cheese and stuff, but how often am I really having parties? So it's not something I use often, but I thought making Pop-Tarts would be a great way. So I just got some Pillsbury pie crust, and I took one of the pieces of pie crust and I rolled it out on some parchment paper, and then I trimmed the edges so it was a perfect square, and then I cut 4 pieces. And I did my best to kind of roll it out. I probably should have dusted my rolling pin with a little bit of flour to make it easier. But once I got myself a rolled out square, I just put 1 spoon of jelly on the inside of this dough, and then I forked the ends and I played with it until I had like a perfect little square. Sometimes I had to trim the edges. I did end up using all of my extra pieces of dough to make extra Pop-Tarts at the end so that I didn't just get 8. I think I ended up getting like 10 or 12 out of what I had. And I repeated the process until all the dough was gone. Like literally that easy. I saw this recipe on Pinterest as well. So if you guys don't follow me on Pinterest, I'll make sure all the links are in the description box, as well as the link to my Pinterest in case you guys want to follow along. I have tons of boards that you guys can just do your own research or save your own pins. But that's what I ended up getting. And I didn't even do an egg wash on them or anything because this was regular like Pillsbury pie crust dough. I probably could have done like an egg wash to get them a little bit flakier, but they still came out toasty brown and fine. The only thing I didn't like was some of the filling oozed out, so I transferred it to a fresh piece of parchment paper onto a cookie sheet, and then I put them into the freezer to flash freeze before I put them in any kind of sandwich bag. So once they froze, then I took them out and placed them in a sandwich bag, and that's it. And once that the kids are ready to eat them, I'm just going to stick them in my toaster oven and toast them back up, and it's going to be like fresh pie for my kids with their own jam and jelly that they absolutely love so much. So not exactly a Pop-Tart Jake would eat, but I think that the kids will eat that. But for Jake, he's more of a ham and egg and cheese on an English muffin kind of guy. So mom said, okay, kid, I got you covered. So I have 12 English muffins here. I have a whole bunch of eggs, and I end up using 12 full eggs because you're going to see how we're going to cook the eggs this time. I usually scramble them and then put them on a sheet pan and put it in the oven, and use the top of a cup to cut it in a perfect circle to fit on the English muffins. But again, trusty old Pinterest said, why not use a cupcake liner? And I thought, okay, we can use a cupcake pan. I don't have the silicone ones that like fold out. So we're going to go back to that bacon grease we put in the jar, and we're just going to use a basting brush, and we're going to baste the inside of the cupcake tin so that it gives a nice lubrication to the inside so that the eggs don't stick. And we're going to cook the eggs literally right inside of there. I also went and prepped our station, and I have 1 piece of wax paper on top of 1 piece of tin foil, and I did that 12 times so that all of our sandwiches are ready. And then I also have slices of American cheese. I had 2 slices of Swiss left, so you'll see we'll label those separately. And then I also have ham, of course, that's what we're using. So I took that basting brush and I went inside the cupcake pan, and I gave everything a good, wipe down so that it's all greased on the inside of each one. And then we're going to drop an egg in each one of those cupcake tins, and then we're going to go back and do a little tiny splash of milk, and I scrambled them. Now, they didn't say to do that, but I like milk or cream in my eggs because it really just fluffs up. I wanted this to be a good, nice, hearty egg on our English muffin so that you feel like you're getting an actual egg sandwich. And then you're going to put it in the oven, 350 degrees for 15 minutes. In the meantime, I started toasting our English muffins. So please excuse my dirty toaster oven. I really need to give that guy a good cleaning, but that's my Casserole toaster oven that's linked in my Amazon store. And you guys know I swear by that. It's a toaster oven, an air fryer, a rotisserie, inexpensive and totally amazing. So if you guys are in the market for a toaster oven / air fryer, rotisserie, or does it all, make sure to check my Amazon store below because that is where it is linked. But now we have our eggs. They are all done, and our English muffins muffins are all toasted. So I put a piece of that egg on a buttered English muffin, and then I put half a slice of cheese, and then I put our one slice of ham, and then another slice of cheese, and then put our English muffin on top, and then we're going to roll it in that wax paper, and then again in the tin foil. And you're just going to repeat the process until all 12 are done. Again, same concept. You're going to cook it for 30 seconds right in that wax paper in the microwave, and then defrost it, and then you're going to do a moist paper towel where you're going to finish cooking it for 1 minute. Once you're done wrapping them, then again, we're going to go ahead and throw them in a gallon size sandwich bag. I don't know why I always call them sandwich bag, Ziploc bag, freezer bag, whatever. Make sure that they are labeled with the date and with any instructions. You might want to write that 30 seconds in the wax paper and then a minute in the moist paper towel. And then that's it, you guys, off to the freezer that they go. And hopefully that will give you a packed freezer full of breakfast for your back to school year. Which means that concludes today's video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. I am so excited about the school year for my kids. We are officially going to have a full family out of the house this year, and so although things are starting to get a little crazy again, I am still looking forward to my kids getting into a normal routine, and I'm hoping that a freezer full of breakfast items will help us get us off to a great start. So that excites me. And something else that excites me, you guys, is that bread oven. So make sure you go and give Naretva a try. Click on that link, grab yourself one of those bread ovens. I am so looking forward to getting back home so I can play with this device a little bit more. So again, that is linked down below. And thank you again to Naretva for sponsoring today's video. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck for your back to school year. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.